Hi and welcome to Conversations with Robyn. On today's program we have Carolyn Myss. Carolyn is in Australia and she is an author, an international lecturer and a medical intuitive. Carolyn, thank you so much for being on the program.
My pleasure, Robyn.
And why are you in Australia?
I'm here to do lectures and a book tour for my new book, Entering the Castle.
And as you can see, I've got a lot of little questions here to ask Carolyn.
You go for it.
So many of them. This is your fifth book?
Seventh.
Seventh. What are the other two? As in Sacred Contracts?
Anatomy of the Spirit,
yeah.
Invisible Acts of Power, Why People Don't Heal and How They Can, Creation of Health, AIDS, and I wrote a book on AIDS.
Ah, when was that published?
That was in 1985.
Okay, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah.
Firstly, medical intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
What's a medical intuitive? For those out there that don't have any idea of who you are or what you do.
Well, I have an ability to evaluate a person's health at a distance or close and profile what is wrong with that person. And physically, emotionally, psychologically, in terms of where you're losing power and how that converts to an illness. And what stresses you have in your body. And then I profile that and I give it to a physician or do the reading directly with a person. And I can identify whether or not you have a physical illness, a specific illness.
And how did you come to do this? I mean, how did this evolve?
Well, you know, I just think I'm wired for it, Robyn.
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as that. I have the wiring. It's just like I have the wiring. It's just like that. I mean, I didn't do anything to help it out. It's just the way I'm wired.
Okay, well, let's go back to part of your journey which led up until this.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was reading in one of your books, I think it was after you finished college or during college,
Mm-hmm.
that you went to Alaska.
That was after college.
After college,
Mm-hmm.
and met a woman called Rachel.
Rachel, uh-huh.
And what was it that Rachel shared with
What did
you?
she say?
Yeah, that was fascinating.
Well, I met her by accident. This bus driver told me to go up to her house and talk to her, and it was only because I was sleep deprived from my trip up to Alaska that I followed him. I mean, the whole story is really quite something. She was half Inuit and half Russian. And when I went into her house, half of it had a samovar, a Russian samovar, and the icons from the Russian heritage, the Greek Orthodox, Russian Orthodox religion. The other half was from the Inuit Eskimo. And we started to talk, and she told me that she was going to a potlatch. I said, "What's a potlatch?"
As you would.
Right, and she said that one of the members of the tribe was dying, and he was calling together the members of the tribe to give away his goods because he knew his time had come to die. And that was the first time I encountered anybody who was that comfortable with death,
Mm-hmm.
and two, the idea of it was a conscious will, a conscious giving away the comfort level with death. And I said to her, "How does he know his time to die has come?" And she so casually looked at me and said, "How is it you don't know?" That hit me between the eyes, like a brick. And I said, "What? How is it we don't know?" That's right. And that was one of the lights that turned on my intuitive ignition. What is it that you know that I don't know? What kind of knowledge is that? And I think that sometimes we ask ourselves pivotal questions,
Mm-hmm.
but to the extent that we really want the answers, do you hold still long enough for that candle to genuinely be lit? But I did. I really wanted to know, how do you access that type of data? To be told your time is coming to die. Gather your tribe. Because that type of information usually scares people. But it didn't scare me. I wanted that type of information to clearly run through my system. And whatever it cost, I was willing to go through. And that moment, my life changed.
So that was the pivotal moment for...
That was one.
One of them.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the first pivotal moment for the work that you now do, or had there been something before that?
There were a couple of moments before that. I mean, I have to. My 8th grade was quite pivotal for different reasons, but equally, and that during that year, I had a nun for a teacher who was very progressive by today's standards. And this was in 1964, 63, 64. And she read a book to us called Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, which of course is a classic, but to introduce it to 12, 13-year-olds is an extremely progressive thing to do on the concentration camps.
Yes, yep.
And you know that book, the first half of it is his recall of the concentration camps, and the second half is the development of a psychoanalytical therapy. Well, simultaneously, she had us read the Diary of Anne Frank that year.
Oh, wow.
And the third thing that happened was that one of the students that I went to school with, the Bay of Pigs happened that year with Kennedy and Castro. One of the students from my class escaped with her family from Cuba. Her father asked to speak to us. And when you're a child, you don't have a sense of time and space. So that 10 years ago, 20 years ago, World War II in the 1960s, may have been the Roman legions. Okay, it was then and it's over.
Yeah.
But this man comes in. Now I'm familiar with the Holocaust. I got Anne Frank. I have Viktor Frankl. But in my mind, and my father was a Marine in World War II, and that completely formed me. Here comes this man who now looks at us, and we're 13 years old, and he says, I want to talk to you about freedom.